over 50 years ago, Tom Skinner wrote How Black is the Gospel. And so he was addressing some of the same things we're still talking about now here in 2021. What are some of the effects of this whitewashing of Christianity and Africa? What are some of the effects that we see of this?
Well, the effects are seen in our theology, in our church, how we look at ourselves, how we look at our people, how we interpret the text. I'm not a scholar. I'm a preacher. And one of the challenges, why do we place so much emphasis on the Acts 10 material and we disregard the Acts 8 material? Acts 10 because Cornelius is brought to Christ. But then the Acts 8 material is when the Ethiopian eunuch is brought. And then the Ethiopian eunuch and the way they interpret that story. So we've got a bunch of sisters named Candace when, in fact, it was really Candace. And Candace was a queen of queens. And they interpreted eunuch and see slave when we see a secretary of treasurers. We see someone very powerful. And we see, so there's this huge story about the beginnings of the gospel and the humanity and the ability and agency of Black people that is totally downplayed. And then this other story is lifted up. What that causes is then our churches are viewed. And some of this conference is even dealing with some of that stuff. Some people running over to white churches because they thought they would get more word. And they thought they would get more word because we've been told it's their book and they interpret it right, and we don't interpret it right. We who do this hard work of reading the scripture and studying history have to ask in all of these eras, what did it look like to be African? What did it look like to be Black? And I keep coming back with there is something more than the individualistic Christianity, I'm saved and going to heaven anyhow in the Bible, and the African story helps us with that. I'm reminded of this when Cornelius got the story. His household came to Christ. But when the Ethiopian eunuch got it, the whole community came to Christ. There's something about what it means to be African that you don't keep it for yourself. And there's something about being Black that says this thing isn't just for me, it's for all my people. And when I read every text that way, I come out with something very different than they give you at Southern or Truett or anything else. And so